Arthur Morgan versus John Marston. That's a really interesting question. Well, these two are one of the most skilled gunslingers in the game. Of course, they must be because they were the main protagonist of the games. But in this video, I'm going to talk about that who is better and who will win in a fight between John Marston and our favorite Arthur Morgan. But do comment down below that who is your favorite among these two. So yeah, now let's start. So Arthur was a damn good fighter. He is enormous and he's damn strong. He's tactical and intelligent. He's the workhorse and the enforcer for a reason. He is third in command, however, he lets his emotion get the best of him, to the point that he sometimes just hits whenever he can. Now, this can be lethal, but you could probably outsmart him at this time too. Arthur can also use his love for someone to defend them to insane degrees. Arthur is at his peak, chapter 1 to 4, and chapter 5 he wasn't doing too bad in Garoma, but declined rapidly after he came back and he was clearly dying. I'm not counting any fights after chapter 5. First, it makes me uncomfortable with the idea of fighting someone else in a gang. Yes, I know it's dumb, but he is dying. With that said, he was able to do well in several fights, but that's intelligent and willpower. Arthur has more resolve and strength, and Arthur and John are both gifted with their firearms. Dutch praises John for being natural, but as far as Arthur being alive goes, he is the better gunslinger. Arthur is pretty good at the bow and arrow too. Now John is lanky and can easily be picked up. He is also sick in chapter 1 to 3, and chapter 5 he is in jail. Chapter 6 he is healthier than Arthur, but he is also recovering from his time in prison and recovering from several accidents. People underestimate John's strength though. Yes, he is lanky, but he is able to pick up Charles. That is the epilogue, but he has no problem carrying the same stuff Arthur is after he has recovered. John has two advantages over Arthur. One, he is faster. Arthur is pretty fast, but not as quickly as John. Charles is by far the best stealth person in the gang. Yes, large people can be stealthy, and John is by far the second. Arthur is capable of being stealthy, but he seems to struggle with it. John is also scary good at using melee weapon, maybe better than Charles. He is the first person to introduce knives in the game, and he uses them more often than anyone else. Xavier talks about it a lot, but we don't really see him using it. John is very shrewd and cunning. I don't see him having an issue dirty fighting. I feel like some versions of Arthur fight cleaner. I'm not saying he's a gentleman fighter, but I think John is more creative and shrewd. To sum the main story, Arthur is more muscular, a better gunslinger, innovative, more willpower, but he's slower, not as stealthy, and may not fight as dirty or creatively as John. Emotion can be a con here though. If I talk about John, he's stealthier, faster, dirty fighter, shrewd, skilled with knives and other throwing objects, but he's slower, weaker, and not as capable with a gun. Both are sick multiple times, and if I had no choice but to pick, I'd pick Arthur. So John in epilogue in RDR 1, he's a lot bulkier in RDR 2's epilogue. I personally think it doesn't fit him if we are comparing him to RDR 1 John. It looks like Arthur's figure and John's skin, not really different other than that. RDR 1, he's older than Arthur, and he admits his skills are rusty from being more sedentary. He's a rancher and trying not to wander so much. After RDR 2's epilogue and the player reaches 100%, he seems to settle down completely. However, in RDR 1, he gets back in the grove quickly. He has no choice. He is definitely freakishly strong, able to easily pick up huge men and fling on his back. John's willpower is pretty low at times, to the point he's suicidal, but when he thinks something is worth it, he reaches the level of will that Arthur has in the main story. His gun skills are said to be the best in the West after Landon Ricketts personally trains him. His melee skills are also still impressive. However, John being blind in one eye is a huge problem. John knows this and has to spend a lot of time guarding that side. Arthur could easily figure it out and use it against him. Now, if I talk about RDR 1 John, his pros are his best gunslinger in the Old West after Ricketts trained him, a lot of willpower when needed, and his cons are older, less powerful until the later in the game, rusty in all his skills until he gets his ass in gear. So Arthur could win here, and if I had to choose John, if it's against RDR 2 Arthur, but he'd had to work damn hard. And again, they are equally matched for the most part. But the real question is, are they willing to fight each other? If it was an RDR 1 situation, what could happen? Arthur would probably either fake his death, let John kill him, die somehow, or perhaps help rescue the Marstons. Psychologically, I think John would have an easier time fighting low honor Arthur. He still hates that his brother has turned out that way, but it would be the same as seeing Dutch again. So yeah, I think Arthur will win because because he is slightly better than John Marston. But what do you guys think? Who is better and who will win? Comment down your answers below and I will see you in the next one.